Well, hi everyone. We're doing a speed run, and we're already at quite a good rating, 23:14. And the idea of these videos is to help you improve, to think like a grandmaster, look at the mistakes that people make at this kind of level. We started off as low can be, and in this speed run, we're trying to get to 2500. So we're getting closer and closer, getting some points back, and it's a 10-minute game, so I can really get into the thought process behind my moves and how Grandmaster thinks. And I'm hoping to give you some good advice there to improve your game. So not quite as crazy as the title Tuesday, and I must admit, I didn't do a video yesterday. I started playing and I got so sick of my play. And sometimes, you know, I think you just need to have a bit of a break. So I apologise for the title Tuesday enthusiastics out there. I'll try to get some blitz in, but I've got to be in the mood, and I just wasn't in the mood. I was playing like a plonker. I need my inspiration back. Anyway, we started off with a French defence, but we've now gone into a more Sicilian position. So at the start of the game, we develop our pieces, control the centre, and try to get our king safe, and look at our opponent's ideas, try to counter them, and already think about what we want to do in the middle game. These are the key ideas in the opening. Even if you don't know the opening very well, if you stick to these ideas, and you'll improve as a player. And here we can see my opponent has put his pawns on light squares, and that means that the dark squares are the ones I want to control. Generally the opposite colour squares to what my opponent has put his pawns on are squares that I can aim to get my pieces around and take control of. So how am I going to improve control of these squares? Well, I'm going to go g6. He might even be able to play d4 here, try to take advantage of the little bit of funny pawn structure I have. But the positional idea behind g6 is to play bishop g7 and control those dark squares, and at the same time develop a piece and get ready to develop a knight and castle. Hopefully one thing you'll find from these speedrun videos is how simple I try to make everything look. That might not always be the case, but you know, chess is a very complex game, but if we break it down, we can do things in quite a simple way. Now, let's have a look. What is my opponent trying to do? We should always think, my opponent plays a move, what's he trying to do? It's clear with this move, he's trying to support this square. So he might be trying to get a big centre. Now, there are a couple of things I can do here, but at the moment, I have 1, 2, 3 pieces controlling that square, and my opponent has 1, 2, 3 pieces controlling that square. And in order to make sure he can't move into that square, you've got to have more attacking it than your opponent has defended it. So now I have 4 pieces controlling this square. He has 3. Yes, I'm losing a move with this, but I don't want my opponent to go forwards and play the move he wants to play. So I've developed my knight here, so my bishop doesn't become blocked. I'm now going to castle, so my king is safe. And we're coming sort of even to the end of what I'd say the basic opening is. My opponent's going for a light square strategy. I'm going for a dark square strategy. I could think about moving this 2 squares, but I know this kind of middle game position well. It's like a reversed English opening. And the plan, and this is where you've got to know your middle game plans, the plan that I really like playing in these types of positions is f5, f4, because I love attacking my opponent's king. Now, I'm going to now give this piece a kick. If your opponent moves a piece into your half of the board, you should try to kick it away. Now I could play h6, but my opponent's idea is to take here. And do I want to allow that? I mean, I don't think that's terrible for me at all. I could take with the queen, and I could also, though, just stop his idea totally and play this. But I'm going to play h6 because I think actually I'm happy for him to exchange my knight. He wants to get more control of the central square, but it's very hard for him to get a piece into that central square. So he does now move back, and now I can continue with this f5 plan. And actually, this move h6 has helped me a lot. I could even play bishop e6 first. Am I worried about this check? I don't think so. If my pawn wasn't on h6, I'd have to watch out for check and knight g5 ideas, when his knight can try to come into f7. And again, I know this from experience, from playing middle game positions time and time again. This is how you get better at chess. Experience, knowing the ideas behind the moves you play. And my favourite plan here is f4, g5, g4, checkmate. So that's what we're gonna try to do here. And my opponent breaking on the queen side. He's got to try to get some counterplay. And I don't have to do much here. I think if he takes, I take back. If he pushes forwards, I can move the knight over here. So I'm going to continue with this. And it's a little bit of a race, but I much prefer attacking on the king side than the queen side, because the opponent's king is on the king side, and checkmate, funnily enough, ends the game. So now I could... got to think what my opponent's trying to do. Is he trying to go here yet? Not really. Is he trying to go here? Maybe. But that move doesn't necessarily help him, I feel. I want to go g4, but I don't want my opponent's knight coming over here. It's quite annoying on that square where it might jump in. So I'm going to move my knight here, controlling that square, but also making sure this knight has a better square to move to. I'm attacking the king side, so I'm maneuvering my pieces towards his king. With this last move, my knight can come back. And now I'm ready to play g4. Now, if my opponent breaks in the middle, I can kick that knight away first and win a pawn there. I can put the bishop here, probing that knight. Watch out when your opponent plays a move. What's he threatening? Big ideas there. Now, I don't see anything wrong. We'll put my bishop here, pinning that knight. Just make sure that he can't get a check there. I could have also moved my king out of the way, but let's develop a piece. If he does play this move, well, again, I'm going to kick that knight. Now, could I have kicked that knight last move? No, because there's a check, but it's definitely a threat now. So my opponent tries to avoid that threat. Now, actually, maybe I should have moved the king last move, because he wants to try and block things up with this, which is slightly annoying. Getting a little bit shorter of time now. I'm just going to... How do I play against that? I want to play h5 at the right moment, but there's no obvious way I can do it. Okay, so we're going to have to let him play g4, which is a bit annoying because it blocks up the area of the board I was attacking on. He's clearly a good player. I don't think he wants to move his king. Wow, well, he's avoided it totally. But if I take there, he's going to do a nasty check. So let's just play quicker, get my king out of this idea. So now I renew the idea of bishop takes pawn. So I think he has to go g4. And what am I going to do against this g4 move? Well, h5 would be normal. He hasn't played it. Very surprised by that. Because now I can play g4, which I'm going to do. Because I've got my king out this way. He should have stopped that possibility. Of course, if he had played g4, I might be able to sacrifice. But I'm now able to open up the area of the board I'm strongest on. And the area of the board I'm strongest on is the king side. Look at this. I've got rook there, bishop there, knight there, queen there. His piece is on the other side of the board, and he can't break through here. If he tries to play a pawn move, I block it up like a Lego. You know how Lego connects together. So he's now gone very passive, and I'm just going to improve my pieces. Now, what piece is not doing anything? If there's not an immediate way you can force a victory, and taking here, the threat is stronger than the execution. I don't want to take that. Let's leave the threat there. I'm just going to double up my rooks, because that rook is not doing anything. This file will most likely be open. F3 is a focal point, a very prime point of attack. He's now taken there first, but this allows my knight to come in. I'm going to keep this file open, so I certainly don't want to take with a pawn. And next move, I'm going to bring my rook in, and you can see the pressure is increasing on the focal point here. My other knight might be able to come round when it's maneuvering in, and everything is coming towards his now newly opened king. So my opponent's big mistake so far was not trying to block up that area of the board. So I'm just bringing in the pieces. I'm not even calculating here. I don't need to. I've got pressure on this one. What do? Lego. We don't open up the area of the board we're weakest on. So pawn takes pawn. Massive mistake. We lock it down like Lego. It connects together. Because now, well, he can try taking there, but this pawn should be easy to stop. I might have to move my rook back. He has done it. This is rather a desperate idea, I think. I now win a piece but my opponent's position was pretty horrible anyway. Okay, so he's trying some fancy stuff here. Now, do I bring the knight around? I think I'm going to stop this pawn. So I'm going to put my knight in front of it. And that way we might also threaten to win that pawn, because my pieces over here, I don't want to bring them back to the area of the board if I can help it. That knight could have also tried to come this way, but we do need to deal with opponent's threats. And this way, at the moment, the extra piece I have is irrelevant. It's not a great piece, but I'm hoping later on, when we have fulfilled our duties on the other side of the board, it will become really strong. So this is the focal point still, and let's increase the pressure on it. So let's bring another piece around. And how are we going to break through there? Because at the moment he's got 1, 2, 3 pieces defending. I've got 1, 2. Okay, so I've got more attacking. But if we now calculate takes, I'm going to be winning. So he had to move that piece. He's forced. And this now allows me to take here. Is his idea to play some tricky move like knight here. But I don't think we're too worried about that. Our rook can move away and we will be taking that knight on the next move. But he has to try something like knight to f5 here, because his position is really pretty terrible here. He doesn't do it. He moves his rook to defend. Very passive idea. I've just got to watch out for this knight coming in. And I've got to watch out for my clock a little bit. As you're probably well aware, I'm one of the slowest players in the world. And here is a very strong idea. I can't see anything completely winning. I'd love to move my queen in, but that would be a blunder because of knight check here. So I'm going to play very safely. I'm going to move my active rook away. He can't come here. If he comes here now, I can take it, and my rook is defended. Next move, I'm going to move my king here. And the reason I'm going to move my king here is to stop this ever being a nasty check. So I'm playing it very safe. And that allows me now to maybe activate a piece that's not activated. Okay, well, he's played this here. His idea is to put the bishop on this square at some point. Interesting idea. And not a bad idea, that, actually. He's playing good moves now. But I could take and take with a bishop. Should be good, but don't really want to do that. How are we going to play this? Do we use the pawn? This one is on pre, so let's deal with that threat first. Let's move here. And then I want to get rid of this knight eventually, but this is the one annoying piece he has. Maybe moving the king here onto a light square wasn't right, so he's come forwards to attack this one. And now I'd love to come in and make some exchanges, but then he has this square forever. So I'm going to come back, trying to control his knight. So trying to stop his knight coming in. I've got to play quicker now. So the commentary might be a little bit slower. And we just got to... What we want to do is exchange pieces. Now, I will make an exchange there. But of course, his knight now has potential to come in. But I have that extra piece. That extra piece should really count. So let's just try to keep it simple. Let's go for more exchanges. His knight has some good squares. And it's funny how this position is not completely clear, actually. His knight might better come in this way. Very peculiar, actually. I thought this would be completely winning, but when his knight comes in here, it's strangely not. So he's fought very well here. If the knight comes back, he pushes his pawn. So, yeah, so this is peculiar. It's not as easy as I thought. This knight, I should have done better earlier on, but okay, we're going to deal with this. And now he wants to queen this one. Okay, so another rather peculiar move there. And his king wants to come up. He's going to go here. This is certainly not as clear as I thought. Not as clear as one had imagined, because my bishop is terrible. So actually, am I in trouble here? Has he found some amazing way out of this? Do I have to go here and take that one there? I don't know. Okay, let's go here. Let's try to grab as many pawns as we can. But somehow, yeah, this sacrifice he did, I don't know if it is brilliant. I certainly misplayed it somewhere. But now his 2 pawns are just as good as mine. And actually, he's got this major threat of just coming here. And I must admit, I think I could be lost here. It's quite remarkable. Let's go back. Only way to defend, but he can now push the pawn, and I have to try to get behind, and his knight's too strong. This is really weird. I'm not entirely sure where I went wrong. And it looked like everything was going quite smoothly, right? Except I'm now lost. So, bloody hell. This is why I didn't want to play Title Tuesday. When things go wrong, they go really wrong. Well, you have to give it to my opponent credit. I can't do anything against these two pawns. And I'm going to have to resign. It seemed like a very smooth game. But it got really bad. And I'm such a cheapskate. We can't put the computer assessment on because we don't have it. But where on earth did this go wrong? Let's have a look at the game review because I'm very intrigued by this. That
was a hard-fought game that your opponent won with some strong endgame play.
Started to get better around this point, 89%, and yeah, I did. I think it was all.
You
all
permitted the
very clear
opponent to
until
eventually
here,
win material.
I was more concentrating my time, and maybe this piece sacrifice was not completely ridiculous. This King H7,
a solid choice,
was not a good move. We allowed his knight in, so we had to try to keep that out. So yeah, I mean, moving the queen over. So okay, well, again, rather disappointing game. We'll have to do another speedrun game, see if we can improve on that, because we're completely running. But bizarrely, as the pieces came off, it was his knight, which was the star piece, and I just underestimated that. I relaxed a little bit too much. Assumed my position was easily winning, which it was, but it shows you that things can go wrong, even when things are easily winning. So a bit of a stumble there on the way to 2500. Oh dear. And well, we'll have to do better than that, won't we? Because that was disappointing. All right. Well, cheers for watching. Do like, do subscribe. I'll get another one of these videos up ASAP because that was annoying. That was annoying. His knight. What a killer piece. Oh.